insulin resistance? That's a buzzword that's talked about a lot in the medical field, fitness, health, and wellness. And it's something that I think a lot of us don't really understand. I'm going to try to explain it so that we can all benefit from what it is, what you need to do to limit and prevent it, and obviously stop the spread of things like prediabetes and diabetes. But what insulin resistance does is it affects a myriad of things inside the body and tons of different organs. So let's get right to it. Apologize for the board. This is Jane Mitten. Jane does keto, and let's talk about insulin resistance. So there's a lot to go through. So first of all, insulin itself detoxifies the body. It takes glucose and then stores it as fat. So if you're eating carbs and sugar as the primary fuel or calories in your body, in your diet, it's converting that to fat. Insulin is the body's defense against excess sugar. So in and of itself, there is something good about insulin, and the body does need it. However, when you eat a lot of carbs and sugar, it actually turns that to fat. So once again, that old saying, fat makes you thin and carbs and sugar make you fat. Insulin prevents blood sugars from getting too high in the body. When you get your physical, you have blood work done, obviously, and they always check glucose. And your glucose should be between 90 and 100. So when I started a year ago, my glucose was, I think, 107. And although that is not pre-diabetic, diabetic, or anything like that, it certainly showed me that that was a number I didn't ever want to see again. Within 30 days, I went from 107 to about 85. And in 3 months, I went from 107 to 50 glucose. And that's where it stays because I'm doing keto and fasting. So glucose is a number we want to watch throughout our lives. And again, insulin prevents your blood sugars from getting too high, which is generally over 100 milligrams. Sugar is toxic to the body. If you leave with nothing else, remember sugar is death. As much as we all love sugar, I know I must have been a huge sugar addict. Sugar has no place in our life. I talked about it before, but Novak Djokovic, the #1 tennis player in the world, went about 6 or 7 years ago off all gluten, off all sugar, and it transformed his career. And he may go down very easily in the next few years as the greatest of all time because of that, in addition to all of his hard work. So there's no place that sugar is a positive. Now, if you want to have it occasionally for, if you're at a wedding, have a little piece of cake, occasionally have a glass of wine, but there really is not evidence that eating sugar on a regular basis is healthful at all. In fact, these are some of the things that are caused by eating sugar. And when we say sugar, you'll see it's across the board, every type of sugar. So sugar is toxic. It affects the nerves throughout the body, the nervous system, the eyes, your heart. It can cause stroke. Diabetes, obviously, that's usually what people think of, but also memory, which is also dementia. And eating sugar and carbs, you have a much greater risk of getting cancer. So glucose is a combination of carbs and sugar. Glucose is something, as we said, you want to keep below 100. But if you're eating carbs and sugar, you're probably not going to be able to do that, and it's not the preferred fuel for your body. Glucose is not the preferred fuel for your body. That's what we've been told since the 70s. It's completely wrong. Fat is your body's favorite fuel. It is more efficient. You lose weight. You regain your energy, your mental clarity. Fat is the solution. Sugar sends an emergency in the body, and the body says, oh my God, we're eating sugar. Immediately, all the soldiers start to work in overtime. And what it does, sugar then goes into your cells, so it goes systemic, and sugar is stored as fat. So even if you're thin, just think, you're gaining more fat every time you eat sugar. And remember, sugar is these things. It's anything with sugar, like a donut, a piece of candy, a cookie, pumpkin bread, but it's also things like this: rice, pasta, pizza, anything packaged or processed, you know that has sugar. Ketones are a very efficient burner of fat in the body. So if you're burning ketones and you get into a ketogenic state, that is the most efficient way for the body to run. The body wants to run on fat. The brain must run on fat. So insulin resistance, the biggest cause of it is sugar. So the question is, what sugar are you talking about? Guess what? Everything, including honey and agave. That surprises a lot of people. A lot of people think, they're shopping at Whole Foods, they're eating, vegan, vegetarian. They're not eating sugar because they're having extremely expensive, high quality honeys and agave. Guess what? The body thinks that's just like eating a piece of sugar from the grocery store, a Dunkin' donut, a crumble cookie, or Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Sad but true. Other things that the body creates insulin resistance from that also are sugar are grains. Grains are not healthy. Frequent eating. Again, this is not our fault. We've been told for years, decades actually, that you should eat 3 meals and 2 to 3 snacks a day. That's 5 to 6 eating times a day. Every single time you eat anything, whether it be celery, a Dunkin' donut, or a steak, your insulin will rise in your body. Again, that is not a bad thing necessarily, but while celery will raise it this much, a Dunkin' donut is going to raise it further than you can see. So definitely you want to stay away from grains, beans, sugar, and that includes things like, as I said, rice, pasta, potatoes. Frequent eating, you get a spike in insulin. Oils like soy and corn, and sadly anything to do with corn is bad. This is such a big presentation. I have another board, so just a moment. So then there is insulin sensitive. I'll probably have to hold this. Now, what is that? It's actually good for the body. And how do you get insulin sensitive? These are the ways. You can do resistance training, just using bands or weights, little handheld weights at the house when you're watching TV or something, even on your bed. Other ways, weight training at a gym or with a trainer, Pilates, yoga. You're using your own body weight against itself. You're resisting, which is fantastic. To a lesser extent, but also very good, long walks. Fasting gets you in insulin sensitive state, 16-hour minimum fasting. The more fasting, the better. What it does when you're insulin sensitive, which again is a good thing as opposed to insulin resistant, bad, these are positives. You're reducing inflammation in the body. You are lowering your glucose level like I did from 107 to 50 in 3 months. Your stress is going down. The key, the cortisol that comes from stress, which is fat in the gut and the abdomen, that's getting reduced daily. Your sleep is improved because, again, you're not building the cortisol, so you are being able to sleep better because you're eating less times of the day because you're fasting and you're burning ketones, which is burning your own body fat for fuel. You're eating veggies, which have more fiber, and you're drinking more water, which is better for the body anyway. Some of the extra things to make you insulin sensitive, again, a good thing, are number 1, ACV, apple cider vinegar. Get the Bragg's, it's the best. That puts a healthy acid in the gut. It doesn't taste great, it's not terrible. The smell is off-putting, but you will feel fantastic when you do it. Other things, cinnamon, ginger, garlic, omega-3s and things like salmon, mackerel, sardines, tuna. It's the best. Zinc, calcium, B1. That's not talked about a lot, but it's important. Vitamin D, sunlight too. Potassium, magnesium, and sodium. So what this means is get outside. When you're eating a lot of vegetables, you're getting a lot of these vitamins and minerals. When you're eating salmon and other good fish, you're getting the omega-3s. And take in the apple cider vinegar. And aren't these things at the bottom of the list, things that they've been talking about for COVID? So you don't need special pills or anything. You're just eating the good foods, the healthy fats, the clean proteins, and the green leafy vegetables, and you're getting the minerals and vitamins you need. And then if you're doing some resistance training and fasting, all the other things will happen. So insulin resistance is bad, but insulin sensitive is good, and it will help you reach radiant health. Again, this is Jane Mitten on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel for the next video. And Global Jane on Instagram. Day 17 of our 30-day challenge. You're doing great. Let's keep going. Let's get into insulin sensitivity by doing some lawn walks, some resistance training, and fasting. And then you will reduce your inflammation, reduce glucose, reduce your stress, reduce your stomach. You will sleep better, and you will get into radiant health. Thanks for coming.